So our knowledge revolution, the whole week, the whole month is about freedom and liberty and stuff like that. And then when Paulette was talking about this class she was teaching, I thought, wow, let's get people excited about it by sharing the platform on the day. And so that's what we're going to do. And we're going to talk about our knowledge revolution.
Yeah.
Are you good for that?
I'm with you.
Are you good with it?
Following
Okay.
you.
All right. So your class is our quantum cells and the theory of everything. Everything
Everything
in 6 weeks.
in 6 weeks. That's where science is going, to a theory of everything. Science and mind have already got there because we understand that we are everything.
We are everything.
Now we need a scientific
Now we just need to figure out how to do it. So now, as you were telling me about this is like the knowledge of the universe, the self, and our relationship to all that exists. Now, every now and then I have that experience of my relationship to all that exists. I read this book, Hidden Heart of the Cosmos, and Brian Swim talks about laying out on the beach, particularly if you can get to a beach where the sand has a big drop off toward the ocean. So you're laying against the sand, and the ocean's coming at your feet, and you lay there and try to ground yourself into the earth so you can feel it moving. It's a strange experience, but if you lay there long enough and not nap, you can actually get this sensation. You're watching the clouds and you're watching everything, and you feel like you're just kind of drifting. Is that what we're talking about, being one with everything?
Well, that's a manifestation of being one with everything. At the very core of the universe, quantum theory, at the very core of the universe, we're all stuff. We're just particles and forces, and we happen to take on this particular form, but what really drives us is consciousness. And the good thing about it is we understand we have our individual consciousness, but we all share a consciousness, and we kind of lose sight of that sometime. Now, the reason I bring that up is because it has a wonderful connection to the study of quantum physics, Einstein's theories of relativity, science of mind, because they're all looking for the same truth. They're all looking for the same information, but they're asking different questions. And for a while, we thought they were all arriving at different places, but they're not. They're all at the same, and it's all about oneness. It's all about our connection. I think from the very beginning of human thought, people have stood on mountaintops and in valleys and wondered, looked up at the sky and say, how the heck do I relate to all that? How do I fit in with all of that? And that question is really what fuels the whole search for knowledge.
Sure.
And it's a question that is centered on us, on humanity. It begins with the Greeks, and at the center of the Greek philosophy was humanity. And the gods are a result of that. So look at the Greek gods.
Yeah, but I also have to wonder if it's just not a part of the manifestation of consciousness itself. Consciousness coming into being as light particles, I think light has consciousness in it. And so when that first let there be light, let there be consciousness came, the universe popped into expression and then was left with, how do I answer the questions of who I am? How do I get to where I am? How do I get to what I am? And then we show up on the planet with this thinking ability so that we can answer those questions and ask those questions.
Well, God, consciousness, the universe, whatever you want to call it, needs us in order to be that creative, that physical creative force here on this planet.
I was at a wedding a couple weeks ago, and a young man at the wedding was with his parents, and the mother says, "Oh, that's Steve. He used to be the weatherman, but now he's a minister. Now he talks about God." And the son goes, "There's no God. There's no such thing as a God. There's not a God." And I went, "You know what?" His name was Lewis. I said, "You know what, Lewis? You're actually kind of right. There is no God. There is no thing that is God. We are God. Every expression is God. That without that, God's just this unformed substance, this presence that has no physical form. That spirit is form and form is spirit, and it comes forth through us, right?
Sure.
What did Dr. Holmes say?
It manifests through us, and then we are consciousness that is descended into this form, and then we forget. We think this is us, and it's not. It's only a manifestation of all consciousness, and we spend the rest of our lives trying to get back, trying to figure that out.
That was one of the things that made Dr. Holmes so brilliant. One of the many things. Look what he says about this. He says, life waits upon man's discovery of natural laws. his discovery of himself, and his discovery of his relationship to the whole. He got it. He understood.
Yeah.
And the universe is very patient with us. It's waiting. So if you haven't fully manifested who you are, don't worry about it. The universe has been very patient. It's been around a really long time. And if you haven't figured it out yet, it's okay. It's going to give you more time. Maybe not 15 billion years, but at least a lifetime to figure out what your relationship is to the natural laws, what your relationship is to yourself, and what our relationship is to the great whole, which is back to how interesting this is working this week, because that's what we're talking about in the healing of America, our relationship to the great whole that we are.
That's what the human nature is all about, our desire to get back to that whole, to understand our connection to that wholeness. That's who we are.
Now, we talked about this teaching that we're in as being new thought.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was the old thought?
It's a good thing. If you look at the tree of knowledge, at least in the West, it's rooted in the Greeks, and this whole idea about philosophy, love of wisdom, which is centered upon the idea that mankind is the very center of the universe. And from that perspective, the gods are created, and some very profound questions come into play. And one of them, of course, is what is the nature of knowledge? How do I conduct my life? And how do we come together as societies to collectively come together to serve humanity? And those questions are at the very basis of philosophy. But what's even below that is the idea that there is no central controlling authority regarding matters of truth. Mm-hmm. That truth is for each of us to understand our truth and to live our truth. And that idea, the search for truth, is what launched the whole idea about inductive versus deductive reasoning, the scientific method versus the idea about transcendental knowledge. And in this course, we're going to be going through, starting Tuesday, we lay out the tree of knowledge and how one side of it resulted in the Industrial Revolution and capitalism and Marxism and liberalism and all of that. Mm-hmm. And the other side resulted in the Enlightenment, as an example, and the foundation of New Thought religions. But something amazing happened in the beginning of the 20th century, just when Ernest Holmes showed up, just in time.
I love when she gets like this. You see
Something
when she gets like, it's so exciting, it's so amazing.
Sorry.
No,
sorry.
Don't be sorry.
My
Go
meds
do
will
it.
kick in real soon.
Don't let
I'm
them.
Sure.
No. Keep it down.
So, yeah. Anyway, now I've forgotten what I was saying. No.
Ernest Holmes, 20th century, first
Ernest
start.
Holmes,
Okay.
comes in the 20th century, and something amazing happened with the birth of the quantum physics in this 20th century. Is we had no choice. We had to start thinking of the universe a completely different way than we did. We had to move from inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is when I look at this, and then I draw a conclusion. I'm inducing something. But deductive reasoning centers within ourselves, within truth. It starts at truth. And Ernest Holmes talked a great deal about that. He said, hey, look, deductive reasoning is what God does, because all God proceeds from, all truth comes from God, right?
Right.
So if we want to be more godlike, we need to think in deductively. And science and mathematics and everything just led us to that conclusion in the beginning of the 20th century, just for when Ernest Holmes. So we're starting from universal truths, right? When you do a spiritual mind treatment, what is the first thing we start with? Here's what I know. Oh,
yeah.
That's deductive reasoning. Here's what I know. I start from the truth, and then I lay out my vision of reality from that.
That's such a hopeful thing, too, to understand that the truth is already within me. I just need to remember and declare it and accept it for myself.
Exactly.
Beautiful,
Ernest
beautiful.
Holmes knew that, but the whole world knew that. They just didn't write a book about it or start a movement about it.
Yeah, and when he started a movement, as we understand it, and I love one of the stories that he went to USC because he wanted to study more philosophy, but Dr. Holmes was like, he was a convenient learner. Cliff Notes would have been one of his favorites. And so he decided that he wanted to have all this philosophical knowledge, but he didn't want to read all the philosophical texts. He went to this USC professor and said, how do I learn more about philosophy? And the guy dumped all these books on him. Boom! And Ernest Holmes says, have you read these books? And the guy says, yeah, I've read all these books. Well, then you can come and tell me about philosophy, right? which is why you guys come here each Sunday. We read all these books, and then we get to tell you about the stuff that we've known.
Right.
And what were you telling me about well, I knew about this because I was next door, but the Institute, which is, I think is really interesting, about Science of Mind.
Yeah, Science of Mind went through a number of iterations, and its first two iterations, 1927 and 1935, included the word philosophy. It was Science of Mind and School of Philosophy, and then it was the Institute of Science of Mind and
Institute of Religious Science and Philosophy.
There you go.
Yeah.
So philosophy is really important, and there's a reason why that is, because philosophy means love of wisdom, and all knowledge comes from philosophy. It splits out. As a matter of fact, what we refer to as science, that's a word that was made up in the 19th century, because prior to that, what we think in science was termed as natural philosophy. And so mathematics started out as philosophy, spirituality, religion, science, all branches of science, all branches of human thought come out of philosophy.
Wow. Beautiful. Teach, girl. All right, so let's go back to Dr. Holmes. Because he's so, I just love that he was on the cutting edge of all this stuff.
He was right there.
He was right there. The universal mind contains all knowledge. It is the potential ultimate of all things. To it, all things are possible. And I just like to stay in that hopeful space, particularly when we're at a time where we think, oh my God, what in the world's happening? What's happening is the ultimate potential is showing up. The time for all things to be possible is available to us as we use our wisdom and our knowledge to remember the truth of who we are and then take the action on that truth.
You bet. And that first sentence, the universal mind contains all knowledge, that's deductive reasoning right there. We know the truth. We just have to shape our lives based upon the truth that we know. And that's what Ernest was talking. Deductive logic. It's all over.
So talk about how you're going to explain this in the class, the shift from philosophy to religion.
Well, there never is really a shift,
okay,
because religion is just another form of philosophy. But what we're really going to focus on, we're going to lay the groundwork. We're going to talk about Plato and Aristotle and what they thought about knowledge, how to obtain knowledge, how that impacted us through Western history, and how they had all arrived in the 20th century and all the forces that came together, where science of mind just had, new thought thinking just had to come about. Mm-hmm. But it was due to a change in the way we were observing the universe. Because one thing we found out when we got in the 20th century was to observe is to disturb. We cannot measure the world, the quantum world, without becoming part of it. And that's a greater truth there, isn't it?
Right. It's back to understanding the oneness that we are, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're in control.
Yes.
Consciousness, the physical universe springs into life, into existence, in response to our consciousness.
Will you be talking about that thing, the two-slit experiment? Do you know about this?
That is amazing, the two-slit experiment. You run this experiment, and if you're observing it, you get one completely output all the time, and if you're not observing it, you get a completely different output all the time. And the only difference is the observer. That's true of life. The only difference in life is
the observer.
You, the observer. So observe some good stuff, okay? We need you. We're counting on you.
Counting on it. So we got a couple other Dr. Holmes leading us along the way here. He talks about, that's the one. Borrowing knowledge of reality from all sources, taking the best from every study. Science of Mind brings together the highest enlightenment of the ages. That's what he was doing. That's the distillation of the teaching. But I really wanted to get to is where we go next with this stuff. That what is ours to do, you see. We have this task that's before us, right? This divine urge within everyone to know more, to express more. And this is Dr. Holmes speaking in first person. I have found that the thing we are searching for is the thing we are searching with.
We're searching for our mind, and we're searching with our mind.
Which is why we do the practices, which is why it's so important to have regular meditation, to do journaling, to do spiritual treatment, to sit with a practitioner. Because what you're really experiencing is an opportunity to get to know more of yourself. And in doing that, we get to know more about humanity, more about life itself, you see. And so the whole reason we come here each week, it's to feel good, is to hear Paulette sing, to hear Andy play, have some jokes, and have a good time, but also so we can lift ourselves up and realize the potential of who we are, the great potential of who we are. We are just such magnificent beings who have forgotten our magnificence. Think about how just incredible all of this that Paulette's talking about, all that we have available to us in potential, waiting for us to realize it. Not to make heavy it. I don't want to, I don't want to overburden you with anything. It's real easy. Just be yourself. Just be your human, natural self.
You know, being your human self is what we really have come here to be. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that we're all, I mentioned earlier, we're all trying to search to get back to our oneness. Well, this really talks about a theory of oneness. You know, Einstein spent the last 40 years of his life searching for one theory, and by the way, he never found it. He was searching for one theory that would explain everything in the universe. Right now, we have two major theories regarding science. We have quantum physics, which describes things at the very small level, and we have Einstein's theories of general and special relativity, which describes very big things. But we can't put them together. We don't know how to integrate gravity in with all those other forces, so we're stuck. And Einstein was stuck for 40 years. The point is, that is the ultimate goal, and throughout history, we've been combining things. In the 1800s, there was electricity and there was magnetism. Now we understand they're the same thing, and we call it electromagnetism. So as we go through, we're searching for one theory that will explain everything, and at the end of the course, we go into string theory, which is the current attempt to come up with one thing that explains everything. But Ernest Holmes knew it 100 years ago. The one thing that explains everything is God, consciousness, the one, right? So science is just expressing it in different terms.
It's so
We're all
wonderful to
trying
have.
to catch up with Ernest.
We're all trying to
We all
catch up
wanna
with the
be
man.
Ernest when
That's
we grow
right.
up.
And that's what he closes up with. He says, our task is to begin to understand that the universal mind is resident everywhere and also of necessity within each and every one of us. Our prayer is that, let's go to the next one. Our prayer is that the truth be made known, that it cannot fail to be revealed. It cannot fail to be revealed. What is occurring in the universe, what is occurring in each and every one of us is it's like knocking at our heartstrings all the time. Pluck, 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 singing this song and waiting for us to open our mouth and broadcast the song. We are destined to be the greatness that we are. It's just the way the universe is set up and made. And Dr. Holmes saw it that long ago. It cannot fail to be revealed through each and every one of you and Andy too.
Even Andy?
Even
Wow.
Andy. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, Tuesdays,
Yeah.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. and 7 p.m.
At 7 p.m.
Now, if you're interested in attending, please go to the website. When you go to the event, there's a thing you can click on, and you can download the whole outline of the class with graphics and all. It'll be a real valuable tool. People are saying, "Is there a book for the class?" It's up here, but it's also on the website. Get the syllabus, print it out. It'll give you a really good guide about where we're going.
All right, so I'll see you at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Maggie
bet.
will be with you at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. I hope that you will join up as well. And how do you like this for a little teaser about classes? Did this work for you?
It works. We love teasing you.
We'll do this from time to time. We're going to shake things up, and who knows who else will be up here. And in the weeks ahead, we might even have some people on Skype interviewed in from other places, because I wanted some names. I'm like, Deepak, dude, what's up? Get on your phone and be on Skype with us, and let's talk to him on a Sunday morning. How about that, huh? All right. Thank you, Paulette.
That would be most lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right. All right then. Let's go back to our affirmation one more time. Are you ready? Here we are. I am a divine outpost for cosmic wisdom, part of a spiritual revolution, bringing more good to the universe. And so it is. You check out good. Does it help you see? Do you see God there? All right. That's what I'm talking about. God's everywhere. Let me just think here. I want to reflect on something. Thank you. Thank you, Betsy. Reverend Betsy. Our prayer box. I want to just let you know that our practitioners are available for you for prayer. Oh, it happens to be empty. That means it's ready for you to fill it with your desires and your wants, your needs, your gratitude for all the good that's happening in your lives. Our practitioners will be praying over your prayers throughout the week. They're in the prayer room during meditation on Sunday mornings and are available with their phone numbers listed on the website for any time during the week that you feel like you need to know the truth of who you are, that you've forgotten. If you're on your process of discovery, we are here to be your compass on the guide to the truth of who you really are. All right? So please take advantage of this opportunity that we have for you to share our love and our knowledge of just how great each and every one of you are. Join me in prayer, would you? So I want to speak the truth of what I know, that there is this one life that is God's life, that is the life of each and every person here. And as we know and understand that, as we remember the truth of who we really are, and of whose we really are, and of whom we really are, we come to one conclusion. There is only the one, life itself. There's no more life in a flea than in an elephant, in the plant, as there is in something that seems inanimate like a car. But truly, it's all a part of the manifestation of spirit showing up as matter in the universe. And I know there are times when we go into prayer where people say, don't pray for things, don't pray for stuff. Hey, the universe is made of stuff. If it's things or stuff that you need to bring you to a new level of understanding and comfort in the world so you can be in a place of security to allow the truth of who you are come out and be of service to the world, get a thing. Get some stuff. It's all part of life. So if that's what's in your consciousness right now, that's okay. And know that it's a vehicle to your higher expression, to the intangibles of joy, of beauty, peace, harmony, love, forgiveness, kindness. So as you move forward in this week and you look at the things around you, the stuff of your life, ask yourself, how does this bring me more to the happenings of life? How does this bring more happiness? How does this bring me to a richer, fuller experience of life where I can give to the world without concern or worry, fret? For that is our journey now, to live in the one. And I accept that oneness for each and every person here. And I allow us the grace to take our time if need be, to stumble along the way, to say the wrong thing at the right time, at the right thing at the wrong time, to mix it up a little bit. For it's all about learning. It's all about growing. It's all about expanding. And I have the faith and the trust, and I make the declaration right now that each and every one is growing and expanding and evolving into the fullness of who they truly are right now. So I bless it. I let it be. Affirm it with me now if you're feeling it by screaming it out. And so it is. All right.